Hello, Director General's office, Pamela speaking. That's right. No, he's not here at the moment. Modelling? Gosh, it's been a long time since he's done that. Okay, thanks, leave it with me. Just think, modelling after 40 years. How can I get a hold of him? Maybe Ben at AMV can help me.
Oh, hi! You're looking for Hamish. You've got an opportunity for him to relaunch his modelling career. Well, I'm sorry, you won't find him at AMV. He worked here in the 80s on Smith's Crisps, but not since. I mean, if you're looking for a good-looking Pringle, you might be better off looking for B. Pringle, Hamish's son. He works here. It has to be Hamish does it. Okay, well, he's not here. I mean, you might try one of the 30 Club gang, someone like Tim Lindsay. Head off to Claridge's, you'll find Tim Lindsay.
Big issue, big issue, big issue, sir. Hamish. No, he won't be here today. He won't be at Claridge's. Some time ago, he formed the not unreasonable notion that people who succeeded in advertising, mainly running agencies, were able to think both laterally and logically, and he called this diagonal thinking. And in his charming way, he persuaded, I think, 17 CEOs to act as guinea pigs, telling them that it would be a minor matter of a few questions to answer. Imagine my delight when John Gage told me that I'd come first equal. I had a couple of conversations which led me to suggest that a couple of other people had also come first equal. And I remain convinced now that Hamish told everybody who took the test that they'd come first equal. And if you want to find him, why don't you try Guy Parker?
Oh, right, so Hamish has gone missing, has he? He's been extremely generous at pointing out to us on at least a couple of occasions that our annual reports placed a little bit too much emphasis on the total number of complaints that we receive. He's been spotted before, actually, in our communications department, lurking. You could try Catherine Jacob.
I'm sorry, you have just missed Hamish if you're trying to catch up with him. It was really good to have him here, actually. He was trying to explain to me, years after we sat together on the radar board, about quintile sampling and rim weighting. After having asked all the questions I wanted to ask when we were on the board together, I thought just this time Hamish might be able to kind of help me fully get to grips with it, and he spent some time with me. It's a bit clearer. I think he left me to go and see Peter York.
As a wannabe ad man who never succeeded in life because I never worked in an IPA agency, I'd made a documentary for the BBC about the rise and fall of the ad man, and I rang Hamish seeking to whip up a little bit of publicity and said, you know, if I got some of the stars from my little film there, could you lay on a do? And he said, well, certainly try, just like that. The following day, he came back to me and said, I'm afraid we won't be able to have it in Belgrave Square. And I thought, God, I knew it. He said, well, there are too many already. And with wonderful alacrity, the IPA had booked the big hall of the Royal Society of Medicine near Wigmore Street. And on the night, it was fantastic because we had not only jam-packed that great big hall, but an overflow hall with giant screens. I know he's publishing his 95th book at the end of this year, and he's doing it with Jim Marshall. So I'd follow the money and try and find Jim Marshall. How about that then?
Oh, hi there. You just caught me looking at the book that Hamish and myself co-wrote together. Book about media comes out in December. Could be an interesting Christmas present. The interesting thing about Hamish is that he is the classic advertising account man. And in that regard, he does have that great ability to immerse himself in projects that he's working on. In fact, Hamish often takes it a bit further than that because he'll tend to take on the persona and characteristics of the people he's working with. You know, for example, he will often dress in a similar fashion to IPA presidents. Though I have to say Rory's clothes sense has somewhat flummoxed him. I would suggest that maybe you go to Golden Square. There's a lot of pretty dodgy characters around there. You may well find him down there.
He's not here, and I don't know where he is, but I could tell you a few things about him while you're here. When I joined the ACA 8 years ago, Hamish was to me a friend, a counsellor, an advisor and a mentor, all rolled into one. And I can't tell you how much he's helped me to do the job that I have to do in Brussels on behalf of the industry. But I can't give him higher praise, really, than to say that at my wife's insistence, his book, Celebrity Cells, takes pride of place on our coffee table at home. I know who you could try. Just across the street here, there's Murray McLennan. Why don't you go there?
Looking for Hamish. Well, it's not a bad place to check out, actually. He used to spend quite a bit of time here in his, in my IPA president days in the dim and distant past. But the thing I remember most about him isn't the work. It was the eating, really. Even when we went up to Edinburgh, we managed to get a Michelin star under our belt. If I was you looking for Hamish, I think I'd check out the Wolseley.
Hamish Pringle, I'm not sure I even can tell you because Hamish is so famously discreet. He actually is the only person who's ever asked me not to greet him too vociferously or too warmly in case people think he comes to the restaurant too often. I don't know, God, I can't think when I last saw him. Oh, but I tell you what, David Patterson, I think, is up in the private room. Why don't you have a word with him, see if he knows where he is?
Afraid he's not with me this time. It'd be a good time to try and catch him, particularly if I'm here. Talking of Hamish, I think it's worth saying thank you to him. You know, he helped me a lot when I was president, was brilliant at making his ideas seem like they were my ideas. Even gave me the confidence to do a rap in the president's reception in my last year as president. One of the things he does very well is to copy the style of the particular president that he's supporting. With me, I'm afraid that consigned him to 2 years of looking very scruffy. And with Bruce Haynes, it was always black roll-neck sweaters. Talking of Bruce, he might well be the man who can let you know where Hamish is. I was talking to him on Skype earlier on. Let's see if we can get him again.
Hi David, good to see your smiling face. But you know what? No, Hamish is definitely not here in Seoul. But thinking about it, you know, he loves a meeting. So have you tried ISBA or JICTA or maybe the IBA, the AA, the ILR, the ITC, maybe the FSA? Or he could be just trying to get that big tent thing together again. So try the MCCA or the PRCA or the DMA. Maybe the BFTPA or the BMA or the BECTU, or could be the BPA or the BSAC, or maybe he's going Euro and it's the EACA.
No luck there, I'm afraid. You might want to try Rory Sutherland at the Cinnamon Club.
No, I don't think you'll find him here. This is the Cinnamon Club. Maybe you should just try a restaurant that only sells incredibly bland chicken exclusively reared by Liberal Democrat voters. Several of us have felt that it's impossible for someone to be as urbane and cultivated as Hamish all the time. So you could try really peculiar sex clubs. Possibly there's some cage fighting going on at the O2. Or as a last resort, there was some word on the street he was thinking of relaunching his modelling career. So you may like to try Mark Robinson over at Grey.
I remember we were a few families on holiday together and we were going to go for a kickabout, a game of football. And we, put on our old trainers and dragged the kids over to the field. And then the Pringles turned up and all 6 of them, including his very young daughter, had brand new pairs of football boots on. And I think that says a lot about Hamish. But I think I know why you're really here. I guess because of Hamish's good looks. There was only one way he could go when he left the IPA, and that's into modelling. And when I realised that that was the career he'd chosen, I think I was probably the first on the phone to him to say, Hamish, we need you. And the reason we need him is it's not just his good looks, but I think his personality shines through. And for me, he was just the person for Pringles, and that's why we've created this new packaging for Pringles with Hamish there on the front. So I think you found him.